I'm still continuing with my little project of going back and recording in an audio form all of the journal posts that I wrote. And for this one, I'm going back to a journal post from October 11th, and the post is called Patreon Design and GoPro Mounting. Friday, October 11th, 2024, 6:19 a.m., my room in the house, Port Dickson, Malaysia. It's been 4 days since I last wrote anything down, and to be honest, I can't remember what happened during those 4 days. Everything in my life feels like it is spinning out of control at the moment. But I suppose that isn't unusual. It feels like my life went off the rails and has been spinning out of control since the day I first started making YouTube videos. But even though I can't really remember what happened this week, I can remember yesterday. So I will start there, and then perhaps the previous 3 days will snap into focus. I started yesterday by going to the Pak Lang Kopitiam. My goal was to upload 2 videos and to investigate Patreon. Uploading the videos went well. I wrote earlier about how I came up with some techniques to make the video sizes smaller and therefore easier to upload, and that has really worked. These were my last 2 videos from Vietnam. I almost didn't even bother editing them. They seemed rather pointless, especially from the title I gave the file folders. One was about the day I went out into LAT to buy a microSD memory card. The other video was about the day I went out to buy a memory card reader. However, once I started looking at the video clips, I realized that a fair number of things did happen on those days. It's true that I was just running errands, but I combined that with walking around and exploring the city, and that made the video interesting enough for me to finish editing them. Once I was done the editing, I exported the videos at 1080p using the H.265 codec, and that resulted in extremely long exporting times, but very small file sizes. One video was shot in 4K, 50 in 1080p at 25 frames per second, was only 4 gigabytes. I was able to upload both of them very quickly using the Kopitiam's Wi-Fi. That was a relief. About choosing how many tiers to offer. It went through all the various options, and it discussed the benefits and downfalls to each option. And I have to say that I found appropriate value on your work. Therefore, you should not choose $1 a month or something like that. That is too little. As a minimum, they recommend $5 a month. And I think they would be happier with $10 itself would make as part of their cut. But I do like the recommendation. I'm fully aware of how much time is required to run a YouTube channel. You might as well value your work accordingly. After I left the Kopitiam, I returned to my room and set up my GoPros on my bicycle for a test run. I've been working on the broomstick approach to mounting GoPros on my bicycle, and I wanted to test it. I have to say that at the end of, as I talked about in the video, mounting cameras on a bicycle is difficult to do. And after much trial and error on my previous bike ride to Sumatra, I came up with this idea of attaching a broomstick to the frame of the bicycle, not to the handlebars. It worked well because the broomstick allowed me to mount a GoPro far enough ahead and high enough. Plus, by attaching the cameras to the frame of the bicycle, it kept them steady. The cameras did not swing back and forth as they would do if they were mounted on the handlebars. And I have this memory of this system working fairly well in Sumatra. However, my testing yesterday seemed off somehow. The broomstick feels overwhelming. It's too much. Having this big stick on the bicycle with two complex camera rigs felt awkward and distracting. And then, when I watched the video afterwards, it looked bad to me. The camera was bouncing up and down too much on the broomstick. It looked bad because in the video, the background was stable, but I was jumping around like crazy. It looked weird. I don't know why that was happening. I felt quite depressed yesterday because I worked so hard on this mounting system. There were so many problems to overcome, and I invested so much time in setting it up and testing different options. And at the end, it all felt like a waste of time. This morning, I felt like abandoning the whole idea. I came up with another idea of attaching a shorter broomstick directly to the handlebars. It's true that this will mean that the camera will be swinging from side to side as the handlebars move, but there could be so many advantages that they might make up for that one disadvantage. These are the advantages that I can think of, assuming it works. The stick can be much shorter and lighter. I can put the short stick fully inside the trailer when not in use. Or maybe I can mount the shorter stick permanently, never remove it. Simpler. Being shorter, the stick might not bounce as much. It will be more rigid and solid. I can mount one camera on the stick and the second camera on the handlebars. The stick won't be in the shot of the second camera. I can put the quick release mount on both cameras since one won't be upside down. I think there are other advantages, but I can't think of them right now. I'm definitely going to test this system out. I really want to keep things simpler. I also spent a good chunk of time recently doing some laundry. I washed all my towels one day, then I washed the DIY bag that I use to hold my bicycle lock, and yesterday I washed my pants. I'm doing all this washing by hand in the bathroom, so it's a bit of an effort. Next will come all my shirts. I also set up my tent and cleaned it. That tent really bugs me. It's such a great tent in terms of its design, but all the waterproofing has already fallen off, and the tent floor is sticky to the touch. I hate that. I also took out my sleeping bag and my sleeping pad to air them out and make sure they are in good condition. I have no idea whether I will really use any of this in Sumatra on this new bike trip, but I want to at least get it ready. The next step will be to buy some gasoline for my stove and see if it still works at all. I just remembered that I spent one day this week also working on the bicycle. On the same day that I mounted the broomstick, I also mounted the new cat-eye bicycle computer. That took a lot longer than you'd think. It was quite difficult to do. And that is the end of my written journal for that day. And right now, I don't think I have anything else to really add to that. I was just in Port Dickson at the time. I don't think I was committed to going to Sumatra on my bicycle, but I was thinking about it. And since I was thinking about it seriously, I thought I might as well get ready for it. And even if I didn't do that, I thought maybe I could ride my bicycle down to Malacca or something. In any event, I wanted to try out some new ideas for mounting the GoPros on the camera. And I was a little bit depressed about how my first experiment worked out. But that is it for that journal post. Thank you once again for keeping me company. And as always, you will hear me in the next one.